Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to be talking about a plant that's like everywhere online,
You be
Pothos.
hell yeah.
Seriously, like if plant shops, charged rent, these would be the top tenants. And for good reason.
They are incredibly popular, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's because they're so resilient. They can adapt to like anything.
Totally.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So whether you're like brand new to the plant world or you practically, dream in photosynthesis, this deep dive is going to like level up your Pothos game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to get started, we're diving into a YouTube video today from Como Jungle. Have you heard of
Oh,
it?
yeah, they're like the plant whisperers of the internet.
Exactly. And their Pothos Care video, it's got it all. Visual demonstrations, expert tips, you name it.
It's so good.
Yeah, so obviously we're not just going to replay the whole video for you.
Right.
We're going to pull out the best aha moments, the
Oh.
stuff that'll make you think, wait, why didn't I think of that?
Yes, exactly. Like, for example, the video starts by saying that Pothos are like always ranked in the top 5 must-have plants.
Yeah, and honestly, once you see how versatile they are, you totally get it.
Right.
Like you want a plant that can, I don't know, trail all graceful like from a shelf
Yeah.
or climb a moss pole like some kind of mini explorer. Pothos can do it.
Yes, and indoor, outdoor, you name it. This plant is all about that choose-your-own-adventure lifestyle.
For real. But here's the thing. They can grow to be 10 meters long.
10 meters, that's like the length of a bus.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's something the video really stresses. With all that growth potential, pruning isn't just like a suggestion, it's essential, especially if you don't want your pothos like taking over your living room or something.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of pruning, the video does a really great job of showing you exactly how to do it.
Yeah, it's super clear.
Yeah, and they really stress cutting above the node.
The node, for those, newer to the plant world, the node is that little bump on the stem where new growth comes from. It's like the Pothos version of like a growth spurt zone.
Perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And the video makes it crystal clear why pruning above that node is going to give you bushier, fuller growth.
Yes. And here's where it gets even cooler. They actually recommend composting those little bits you prune off.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Talk about closing the loop. Giving back to your garden while also keeping your pothos looking amazing.
Sustainable plant parenting for the win.
Yes. Okay, so we know these guys are versatile. They get big and we have to prune them. But let's back up to like the basics. Light and water. What do they need?
Well, the video breaks it down so well with those close-up shots so you can actually see what they're talking about.
Right.
But basically, bright, indirect light is the magic formula for these guys.
Okay, so like sunshine coming through a curtain, not like direct rays blasting those leaves.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. So like that perfect dappled sunlight you see under a tree.
Yeah.
What happens if they get too much direct sun? Asking for a friend who may or may not have accidentally scorched a plant or two in her day.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, no, the video shows how that direct sun can lead to those brown spots on the leaves, kind of like a pothos sunburn.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not a cute look.
Not the vibe.
No.
Definitely not the vibe. Speaking of vibes, what about watering? How do we keep those leaves looking like lush and vibrant?
Well, it's all about finding that Goldilocks zone, you know.
Yeah.
Not too wet, not too dry.
Okay.
And the video, it actually gives you these really great visual cues for like actually checking the moisture levels.
Okay, good.
But one thing they really stress is using a well-draining soil, and ideally one that's made for like aeroids, like pothos.
Oh, so not just any potting mix will do.
Right, exactly. Like aeroids mixes, they tend to be a little chunkier, which helps prevent the soil from getting all compact and waterlogged, and pothos do not like that.
Makes sense. Oh, man. I have definitely learned the hard way about overwatering.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real problem. But hey, that's why we're doing this deep dive Fryev, right?
Yeah.
To avoid those plant-parent fails.
Exactly. And speaking of things that can go wrong, the video talks about choosing the right pot when it's time to repot your pothos.
Okay, yeah, that's important.
It really is.
It's like finding the perfect pair of shoes. Not too big, not too small, but just right. What's the magic number here?
So they suggest going up just one pot size bigger than what it's currently in.
Okay.
You don't want to give those roots too much space, overwhelm them.
Right. It's like moving from a cozy studio to like a giant mansion all at once. That would be a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got the pot size down. What about the actual moving process?
Yeah, how do we make it smooth?
Well, they actually call it, this is interesting, they call it the #1 reason plants die.
Okay, no pressure.
Right.
Right.
But it shows you how important this step really is. And they say to use really high-quality soil, so again, that aroid mix is a good idea. And then to be really gentle when you're moving the plant from one pot to the other so you don't damage the roots.
Like giving them a little hug in their new home.
Yeah, exactly.
I love when they talk about how, plants speak through their roots.
Oh, for sure.
Like when your pothos is root bound, which means it's like outgrown its pot, the roots have filled it all up.
Yeah.
It's like they're sending out a little SOS. Be like, hey, I need more space.
Totally, totally. And that actually brings us to a question that I feel like comes up every time you repot something. To trim the roots or not to trim?
Ooh. Yeah, that's always like the big debate. I'm always scared to touch the roots. What do they say?
They actually say, don't do it. Unless it's, like really necessary.
Okay.
Like if there's damage or root rot or something like that.
Okay.
But otherwise, leave them alone.
Why is that?
They call it double stress because transplanting is already stressful for the plant.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you're basically like moving to a new place, but then also having to renovate it right away, and you haven't even unpacked.
Yeah, just let the roots chill. Speaking of adjusting, let's talk about the troubleshooting section of this video, because you're making me feel a lot more confident about keeping a pothos alive. But what if something does go wrong? They had some good advice in this video, too.
Right, because even if you do everything right, sometimes, plants are fickle. But the video does a great job of talking about the most common problems.
Yes. Like, what's the deal with yellow leaves?
Oh, yeah.
That feels like every plant parent's nightmare.
I feel that. So it could be that you're, overwatering or underwatering.
Oh, okay.
But the video actually shows you how to tell the difference by looking at the soil. So, like how dry it is or how damp it is.
So it's like you're a detective for grouping leaves.
Exactly. So if the leaves are yellow, but the soil is still damp, you're probably overwatering.
Okay.
But if the leaves are, crispy and dry, and the soil is dry, then you've got a thirsty pothos.
Okay, makes sense. It's all about paying attention.
Mm.
So what about brown tips on the leaves?
Yes. So that's another common one. The video mentions that can be from inconsistent watering.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or low humidity, or even hard water, like a buildup of salts from hard water.
Wait, really? Salts from hard water can mess with your plants.
Yeah, isn't that wild? It's amazing how much our home environments affect our plants.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they actually suggest letting your water sit out overnight so some of those chemicals evaporate out.
Oh.
Or using filtered water if you've got hard water.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay, what about leggy pothos? When the stems get super long and there are only a few leaves at the top, it's like they're stretching.
Oh yeah, the old reaching for the light issue.
Yeah.
It happens when they're not getting enough bright, indirect light.
Right.
So they literally start reaching for more.
It's like they're trying to escape.
Right. And the video actually shows these pothos vines like doing acrobatics to try to get closer to a window.
Wow.
It's pretty great. But anyway, the solution is to give it more light, obviously.
Right.
Either move it closer to a window or you could try grow light. But they say it's really important to do it gradually.
Oh.
You don't want to shock the plant.
Right. No sudden movements. All right. For the grand finale, propagation. This is how we get more plant babies, right?
Yes. And the video makes it so easy.
It's like, it blows my mind how resilient plants are.
Yeah.
You just take a little piece, you put it in water, and then suddenly, ta-da, you have a new plant.
Right. It does feel magical.
A little bit. Tell me all the secrets. How do I propagate a pothos?
Well, they make it so simple. You take a cutting, make sure it's got a node or two, those nodes we were talking about earlier.
Oh, right. With the pruning.
Exactly. The little bumps of growth potential.
Yeah, yes.
So you take your cutting with a node or two, and then you can either pop it in water or you can put it directly into soil. And they actually show you both methods in the video.
So cool. I always like the water propagation method.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
It's like watching a plant time lapse. But I know some people, they love the soil propagation. So any tips for like success with either one of those?
Yeah, so they talk about like some universal truths no matter how you're propagating.
Okay, nice.
So number one, always start with a really healthy cutting from like a thriving plant.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's like giving your baby pothos the best possible start to life.
Yes.
Strong plant genes.
Exactly. But also, no matter which way you're propagating, just be patient.
Oh, yeah, that's good advice for everything.
It's true. It can take, a few weeks for your pothos to root. Don't panic if you don't see anything happening right away.
Okay. Patience.
Yes, exactly. Just, if you're doing water propagation, keep that water fresh.
Right.
Give it some indirect light, and then just, let it do its thing.
Yeah, let nature do its thing. It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Good things
Cool.
take time. Okay, I feel like we've covered so much care, troubleshooting, propagating. We're basically pros. Is there anything else we need to know about pothos?
Well, they did have one last point that I
Yeah.
thought was really important, especially if you live somewhere, warm pests.
This is the worst.
The Pothos party crashers.
Yeah, nobody wants those guys. No,
Yeah.
not at all. So they specifically talk about mealybugs and spider mites, which pothos are kind of susceptible to,
Okay.
but they give you some good solutions for, like, getting rid of them,
Okay, good.
and they're, like, environmentally friendly, too.
Okay, I'm all ears. What do we do?
So insecticidal soap is a good one.
Okay.
Or neem oil spray. Those are kind of your best bets if you do get any pests.
Uh-huh.
But the most important thing is to prevent them in the first place.
Oh, okay.
So you got to check your pothos regularly, like really get in there.
Oh, no.
Make sure there are no bugs hiding,
Okay.
because that's how you're going to, that's how you're going to catch things early on.
Be proactive. Just like with any plant care, really, right?
Exactly, exactly. And actually, that made me think of one more thing they said that I thought was really important. They're big on observation.
Observation. Okay, that's surprisingly profound for Pothos. What do they mean?
I know, right? But they're basically saying, like, even though we just talked about all this stuff,
Right.
every single pothos is different.
Oh.
So you really got to pay attention to, like, how is your plant reacting? What are its specific needs? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's a constant conversation between you and your plant.
Yes, exactly. Like, you have to learn how to read their little signals.
Right.
Like, are the leaves drooping? What color is the new growth? How does the soil feel? That kind of thing. And then you adjust your care from there.
I love that. It's not just following a checklist. It's like actually having a relationship with your plants.
Well, I got to say, this deep dive was amazing. I feel like I've graduated from, like, Pothos 101 to, like, advanced pothos studies or
Right,
something.
me too. And, honestly, the best part is that now you know how to take care of any pothos.
Yes, exactly. So for all of you plant lovers at home, remember, pothos like bright indirect light. They like that well-draining aeroid mix. Keep that soil moist, but not soggy. Nobody likes soggy feet.
That's true.
And give them a little haircut every now and then. Keep them nice and bushy and full. And when it's time to repot, go up just one size. And don't go crazy trimming those roots unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, leave those roots alone. And don't forget about propagation.
It's actually way easier than you think. And you can have a million little pothos. Just remember, healthy cuttings, be patient.
Patience.
And you'll be just fine. And even if you run into some trouble along the way, don't worry. That Como Jungle video has tons of information about troubleshooting.
It does. And it's all really clear and easy to follow, too.
Definitely.
So, most importantly, remember to channel your inner plant whisperer.
Yes.
Pay attention to your pothos, give them lots of love, a little extra humidity if they're feeling dramatic.
Because a happy pothos equals a happy plant parent.
That's right. And on that note, happy planting, everybody.
Happy planting.
May your homes be filled with tons of lush, beautiful pothos for years to come. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.